let's move on to some wrestling talk. The biggest thing to happen in wrestling this week, we had the announcement, or excuse me, Will Ospreay won one of the most exciting matches in Dynamite history. He won that gauntlet match that featured Mystico, Hechicero, Shota Umino, Castagnoli, Jay White, Orange Cassidy. Just a phenomenal list of guys. And the winner is going to Forbidden Door to face the AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland. When I saw this, I had no idea this was happening. I found out just like y'all, so I got to kind of enjoy it. I haven't even got a chance to ask kind of about like what went into this yet. So I'm just gonna kind of speak freely, if I can about my thoughts on it. And I think this is very inspired booking. I don't think there's been a more exciting and kind of unpredictable match on paper for the AEW world title in ages. Like I felt like we all kind of knew Swerve was going to whoop Christian. We knew that he was going to beat Joe. MJF and Samoa Joe, is that? No, I think there's a whole nother level from that. You got, the all-in stuff and a lot of the MJF stuff at the second half of the year. You got going a long way, man. Danielson, he was the first challenger. Like, we already knew MJF was going to win. This is real unpredictable. Strictly for the fact Will Ospreay is, like, rolled into this promotion like a supernova. And I think it would be hard to deny the level of work that he's put in and the impact on the buildings. Like, just you see the way the crowd reacts to this guy. It's like this magnetic force. And at the same time, we sat here on this show, James and I, a couple months ago. I said, where I felt like this was going to be the main event of All In, where I was like, the story of this promotion, to me, that I'm looking at it, is like Swerve and Ospreay are racing in parallel lanes to each other for the spot. And Swerve won the championship, but there's still more, I think, to decide between them, that the championship, whoever's wearing it, doesn't necessarily settle. However, AEW has done the inspired thing of bringing these guys together quicker. And I guess this would be it's happening at Forbidden Door. Normally, a New Japan wrestler would, get this kind of opportunity. Swerve actually on this show about a month ago said he wanted to, face Shingo Takagi if it was up to him. That wasn't the way it ended up happening. I just look at it with Swerve and Will. Swerve and Will is a hotter match that they can make than any person from New Japan, flat out. And this is like a business of making the biggest matches you can, or the biggest matches you feel you have at the time that you can put together. And if you can put Swerve and Will together right now, and these guys are willing to do business with each other, and there's a good storyline, there's excitement behind it, I'm not gonna delay that, especially when right now they do not have any other pay-per-views on the calendar until All In, I believe. Like, they have June, at the end of June, there's not a July pay-per-view unless they add one, and then we're in August at All In right there. So this is kind of now or never with this thing, it feels like. And between these guys, I feel like you have clearly picked one of them already that's going to be in the main event of All In, that's going to take the championship against whoever wins the Owen tournament, which I'm seeing a lot of people forget about. A lot of people, I think this thing's going to be loaded up. Everybody in this thing, I think Ospreay's going to be in it. I think Danielson's going to be in it. I think Hangman's going to be in it. But I think there's there's something that I keep flashing back to, why did Will Ospreay beat Bryan Danielson? I keep flashing back to that in my mind. So we will see if that comes into play here. But I feel like Swerve and Ospreay coming together, this is the best versus the best. And that's what I want to see as a fan. I don't necessarily want to see everything getting booked so a guy's protected here. A guy doesn't have to lose to somebody. You have to keep guys away from each other. If there's, there have been criticisms of Swerve's title reign, which I think have largely been a lot of things people are trying to say but cannot express completely. So I feel like I can just kind of expose what they're saying. you can't say he hasn't, wrestled. Like this guy's like he's had already a great run of matches. He's had awesome matches, and people are harping on segment placement and things like that. But I would just tell those people to read a chart and see like where the best quarters are. It's usually your first quarter, your fifth quarter, or the main event. And the main event normally struggles, so I would want to keep Swerve where they've had him, which is in segment 5, and also, maybe in the opening segment, because that's the lead-in. Even though the lead-in hasn't been as strong of late, I would offer those people to read a chart. But what Swerve could use, because what any champion could use, is a hot match. And Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland, years of history, years of backstory between them, if you want to dig in it that far. I'm excited to see which way they're going with it. Swerve on Collision actually did a promo that was really great, ended up closing the show. And his whole thing was, I had to sit, at Forbidden Door and watch the last 2 years. I didn't make the card. And I was on the pre-show wrestling against Despy and Kanemaru in a tag match. I was on the pre-show again, an 8-man tag, getting the pin, while Will Ospreay was on the main show showing out between his matches with Orange Cassidy and Kenny Omega. And as great as those guys were, the guy that got you to the main event was Swerve Strickland in the AEW Championship. I think that's a cool way to start the smoke. I think these guys are going to have plenty to say to each other. I'm fired up about this match, just because I think we're looking at a match of the year candidate. I think it's a match that you put it on paper and you're like, international champion versus the world champion. There's kind of a best versus best element to it, and then there's all right, the meta story of Will Ospreay in so many people's eyes needs to be just force to the championship. It's a colossal failure if he's not winning the championship at Wembley this month or this year. James and I have talked about what the best course of action would be to make money with Will Ospreay for a longer period of time in that first road to the title. Tunnel Talk has talked about the concept of the special guy, and Trish and Sarah have expanded on this. Or it was backwards. It was one of them. And then, you see the way people act about Will Ospreay generally, just because he is so great. He does light up the your cage matches, your star rating systems and stuff like that. This guy's phenomenal. Love him. Nobody's a bigger fan of Will Ospreay than me. As far as wanting to watch good matches, who do I want to see? I'm gonna draft Will Ospreay, or in that class. He's in that class with how I feel about Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson and that stuff like that. But I think this thing is how do I say this? I think the rush to crown him is a mistake, and I think him coming in and failing against someone like a Swerve, a guy that you could say needs something else to really drive it home, as far as yo, this is who they're putting the money behind right now. This is the plan right now. And to Swerve's credit, he's done everything you asked of him, all in the media, week to week, great performances, defending the title, bringing in celebrities, bringing in people that and appealing to audiences beyond wrestling. For 2024, I think Swerve Strickland is more is needed right now to push through and show that guy is somebody that you push the button on and it was successful. Will Ospreay, for his for the thing for Will, he's always going to be there, and I think people are so scared that he's not going to be there that's why they want to rush it so much. But I think riding the wave and getting as much out of Swerve as you can, as far as who he appeals to, the different matches that are available to him. To me, taking Will to Wembley this year is a disservice to them both. And nothing against Will at all. I think you bring him to Wembley and you have him at Wembley announce next year, I will win this motherfucker. at this arena. So it gives them the reason to come back. It gives them another year to promote that stuff, especially like going into year 3. We've mentioned it. They're going to need something. It is hard to run the same venues year after year after year. We saw Double or Nothing this year. Like, in it, 5 years of being in Las Vegas. Like, it's time to go. And it's going to be time to go if they just keep, like, if they keep emptying the clip on Wembley. You're not going to have anything to go back with. I think this is going to be a match of the year candidate. I think this is going to be this is going to be the first step in Ospreay's trajectory to eventually be the champion, and it's going to be something that uplifts Swerve to another level here, because I think I think these guys, like, they've wrestled each other before on the independent circus. I don't think we're going to see any dance moves this time. I think this is just going to be, pure, like, sensational wrestling. And there's no New Japan guy. And does part of that suck because it's Forbidden Door? Yeah, it sucks. But, New Japan's they've got 12 months every year to have somebody ready for something like this. They could bring Tetsuya Naito on a plane and tell him to come lay the shoulders. They could bring Sonata out here, but if they announce Sonata, people will be like, what the fuck is this? They could do Shingo Takagi. That's the only other thing, but is that as strong of an attraction as Will Ospreay versus, who's kind of still like a New Japan guy anyway, even though, he left or whatever, who's still kind of carries that with him. Like, I don't know, man. Like, are you rolling Hiroshi Tanahashi out there again? No, you're not doing that. Who else you got? Tomohiro Ishii? Yota Tsuji? Look, if it was my promotion and I wanted to try to make some new guys, I would recommend Yota Tsuji. I would recommend, Yota Tsuji, pretty much, because that's the guy I like. Fuck out of here with the Yu Uemura stuff. So, no Yu Uemura. No, not at the top of my card. Absolutely not. Not in this year. Shota Umino. That's somebody that could hang at that level. And, I would always want to lean toward, trying to make the next guys, but none of those guys would be as strong in a spot as Will Ospreay. And the name of the game is making big matches for when you can make them. And the best thing they can do for Swerve Strickland as a world champion is have Will Ospreay go out there with him and have these guys go to war and have them bring it out of each other and submit, some fire. And I think these guys are going to do it.